So in this second part, I would like us to talk about your studies because I know you're very educated. So I was thinking, how did you manage your studies in Cameroon? And then, yeah, let's start with that because those were not optimal conditions to study in, you
Yeah.
know?
Um, I mean, my education back home, there was no education for me. I was, because of what I was going through, school was not even something that I was considering. I wasn't really active in going to school, and the time I went to school, I was doing very poorly. I mean, and like I said, no one cared really. So I mean, school back home, I don't really think that I really went to school, did any studies back home.
Did you go to public school,
Yeah,
private
oh
school?
yeah, I went to public schools. Yes, I went to public school. When I came to the US, I was in I believe it was 11th grade. Yeah,
Mm,
secondary. Yeah, but it wasn't really. It's not like I took school seriously because back home, in order for a child to be serious with school, the parent or the caregiver would have to stay on top of the child to make sure they do the homework, they study. But nobody really cared about that. So why did I care
yeah,
as a
yeah,
child? You know.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So I would say I've done my study here in the U.S. But back home,
Ah,
I
wow.
really don't count that.
So when you got to the US, you picked up studying.
Yes.
What motivated you?
What motivated me is my story from back home because as I was getting ready to come here to the US, because I was a bad person, a bad child, not going to school, doing very poorly, um, my future was already determined that I wasn't going to do well in life, and I was told that the way you're going, you're throwing your life away, and it doesn't seem like you're going to make it. I was told that a week before I traveled, and because I wasn't doing well at school, I was delinquent, and I was just look at it as somebody. Okay, his future is already determined that he's not going to be anybody in life. It was already that decision was already made for me based on what they were saying, but they didn't
Mm.
realize that okay, me acting up was a result of what I
Yeah.
was going through. But as a result of those experiences back home, um, that's how my dream was to become a psychologist.
Mm.
Yes, that's where it all started because I wanted to understand people's behavior. I wanted to know why people were thinking the way they were thinking and why they were acting in such ways. I was so dedicated about understanding human behavior because to me, human were just cruel. And it's funny, I had this natural ability that I can see through people. I don't have to
Mm.
interact with you for 5 minutes. I can tell you if you're a genuine person or not. So I had this not that I consider that as a natural ability, and I always like to analyze people
Mhm.
because I like to
But
see what.
you know it comes from your childhood, right?
I
You
have
always
no
have.
idea, but it was just for some reason it was just something that it was natural that I could
Mm.
pick up on behavior instantly as soon as I come across somebody. I will assess the person and I can tell you what's going on with this person. It was just a
Mm.
natural ability, and I was very driven by understanding human behavior and understanding. Oh wow! And I could see a lot. I could see a lot of people, and that's how I knew how people were fake, how people were hypocrite, how people will put a smile on their face when they're really struggling on the inside. I could see a lot of that.
Mm.
And the sad thing is, I could also see a lot of children suffering, you
Mm.
know. And that's how I made a decision that, I wanted to become a psychologist. That was just a childhood dream that I wasn't even thinking about it back then because back home, I don't even know if there was even programmed psychology back. I wasn't even thinking about it, but it's something that I know I was passionate about. So there I come to
Mhm.
the US. In the African culture, when you come to the US, everybody's promoting you to go into the medical field because that's what is marketable and that's what pays well. And in order for you to uh, do well as a psychologist, you have to get a PhD. So So I get here, my mom and my stepfather was like, oh, no, go to medical school. You're gonna quickly find a job, and yeah, you're gonna make good money. So I'm like, okay. I followed that recommendation. I enrolled in to become a radiology tech. They wanted me to do nursing, but I'm not. They want to be a nurse. I'm like, I'm going to do something else. So as I'm taking courses to become a radiologist technician, I don't like it. I don't like the
Mm.
classes. I'm not motivated to study. I'm doing poorly. My GPA is dropping. I'm getting frustrated because I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like what I'm studying. I don't even like the hospital in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So being frustrated, I went to see a career counselor at a college. And then he's asked me, "Oh, so what do you want to do? I mean, I understand this is not for you." Then he asked me, what do you like to do?" So I told him that I always wanted to become a psychologist because I like to help people who are suffering from emotional needs. That's what I told him. He was like, okay. He's like, well, in order for you to become a psychologist and do well, you need at least a master or PhD, and But what you can do, you can go to school to become a therapist. That you can get a bachelor and a master, and you'd be fine. So I went ahead and followed his recommendation, and that's what I did. So I went, I got my master's and bachelor's degree in clinical social work, and I've been working as a therapist over the past 8 years. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Congratulations. That's really transforming pain into purpose. So
yeah, literally transforming pain to purpose, as you stated.
I'm really proud of what you've done with your life, given what was done to you and what you didn't have. So,
Yeah,
yeah, really,
I would say,
congratulations.
yeah, I would say I was driven because a part of me had something to prove.
Hmm.
A part of me has something to prove because I was already told that I wasn't going to make it. And
Yeah,
I knew that I had something to prove, and I realized that no one really cared about my life, but I had to take responsibility and take charge about my life because nobody else is going to do it. So I channeled that and became a very driven person. And mind you, when I came here to the US, I was not speaking English. That's an
you were, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Trust me. I came here with no English. I'm francophone.
Yeah,
And back home, English. I'm in school. I wasn't going to school, let alone taking English classes. So
yeah,
I came here. I wasn't speaking any English, and I remember I graduated when I came here. I completed high school. I did 12th grade. I remember going to school with an English and French dictionary, walking around, literally walking around with it.
mm-hmm.
I was spending a lot of time studying because you're just not studying the material, but you have to study the translation at the same
Yeah,
time. Yeah. So I successfully graduated. I had my high school diploma, and then I went to college. And yeah, it wasn't in high school was that 1 year that I did in high school was also hell because not speaking French and kid at that age when I have a presentation is just a
oh,
nightmare.
yeah.
A nightmare.
Everybody making fun and
Everybody making fun of me.
goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole nightmare.
You've been working for 8 years as a therapist. So,
Yeah.
what kind of clients have you been having?
Oh gosh, that's a whole world. I've seen it all. I would say literally. I've seen everything. I don't think there's anything. There hasn't been anything that I haven't witnessed. I've seen so much, and it changed my whole perspective about life. And you see how people are really struggling. I mean,
Tell us more. That
I,
change of perspective.
I mean, from people really, seeing things, hallucinating,
Mm,
um, a lot. I mean, people who really want to kill themselves in front of you, people
wow.
who try to fight you, Yeah, I've seen I've worked with everything, everybody. To be honest, I've seen
Mhm.
all type. Oof,
So
oof.
how have you been able to manage your own past, not, not being triggered by these sometimes extreme situations that are?
It was a journey. I'm not gonna lie. It was a journey. First of all, when I didn't realize what was going on with me, you know, when I got here in America, because some of the things that I struggled with, I had insecurities, I had low self confidence, I had trust issue, uh, I had a lot of issues, and I didn't understand. I thought they were just a part of my personality, the way I was born. But as I started taking classes, when I started in college, I started to learn about myself because you're learning about human behavior, the trauma, and all of that. Mind you, I'm learning this to go out there and help people, but in reality, I was learning about myself. I was
Gaining
learning about myself. So
awareness.
the professor is there explaining, okay, this is why people will act a certain kind of way because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm sitting there in the class saying, oh, that's why I act the way I act. This makes perfect sense. This
Yeah,
is because this is how I, this is why I'm the way I am. It makes
yeah.
sense because of X, Y, and Z, because of this happened in the past. Because mind you, I never knew anything about trauma and I never knew the consequences. I know, okay, it was an emotional pain, but the problem that we don't talk about is the consequences because you
Yeah.
develop some personalities like you have some fears, you have insecurity, you have low self esteem, you have anxiety, I
Mm.
mean, you have lack of confidence. Where is this coming from?
Yeah.
Where is
Yeah.
this coming
Wow.
from? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You,
So it
you even
became very, it was a big awareness for me. And awareness was, I guess, the beginning of my healing because I started to understand a lot about myself.
hmm.
Even until today, I still
Yeah.
struggle with all these things, but it's just that I'm just able to manage them better because I have
Hmm.
a better understanding of what's going on.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I just find you so brave to say that, on this platform, because we need to hear that more and more, because many of us in our communities, we with the shame that comes with even recognizing feelings, people are ready to fight you that their past doesn't affect them, and actually it does. In the post you posted on Facebook, you said it didn't stop you from achieving your goals, but they are there. And I think that's the important part, because you have the awareness, but you still achieving your goal, you still following your purpose, but you're aware that actually this life I had, you know, it can cause me to feel for myself moody, anxious sometimes. Sometimes I will have like stressful emotions just come up. I have to figure out, so okay, what's going on? What caused this? And that questioning, that awareness actually brings us to find ways to regulate ourselves, regulate our emotions. When I cook a dish and my kids, they come, they look at it and they say, Berk. I take a deep breath. I know that it will come and trigger me because I didn't have food to eat. And you know, but so that I dissociate my own personal experience going on inside from the situation happening in front of me. Without awareness, I wouldn't know that there's a difference. And I will start screaming at my child.
There is a difference. It's funny that you mentioned that because I go through that with my kids. Because I was raised that when an adult says something, you better do it.
Yeah.
But my kids here, no, you're gonna have to speak so many times, and it gets to the point where I'm getting very upset.
Yeah. Me
I'm
too.
getting very upset because I'm like, I'm telling you to stop doing something, and you keep doing it, and I have to keep repeating myself. And
Yeah.
at some point, there was some anger building up, getting
Mm,
upset at my kids because they weren't following instruction when I'm telling them to do something. But I had to, just like you said, I had to learn that okay, I'm feeling this way because when I was a child, if you say no, oh yeah, you're gonna end up at a hospital. You're ending up at a hospital. But here I
mm,
have my kids. I had to say something two or three times for them to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn that, okay, there's my past or what I went through, it doesn't have to be theirs. I don't have to be upset because they don't listen simply because every time somebody snapped their finger, I had to move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I shouldn't build the anger. I should be able to, have be able to tell them to do something, and I shouldn't have to get upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't have to get angry about it because that anger wasn't the fact. It's not the fact that they're not doing it. The anger is like, well, I didn't have it this way back then
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
a child. I didn't have it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you here, I have to talk, yell a couple of times for you to actually pay attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I had to learn how to, separate myself from that
Mm-hmm.
equation because this is a different generation. This is the circumstances are different.
Mm-hmm.
There's still way that you can be strict with your kid without allowing that anger to to communicate with them. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely hard. It's really, really difficult. And it's a kind of I would say a battle of an adjustment, an everyday adjustment. Really. Yeah. Because even some small things, you would say, I don't know, they would call you Mama, Mama. You don't answer immediately. And then they say Miriam, then I turn, because you want to get, and then, it's nothing, but I think, oh my God, if I had called an adult in my life by their first name, you know, but they do it very naturally. And then now they have my attention. They tell me what they wanted to tell me. Sometimes I do find it fascinating. Yeah, we are learning, and this is the awareness we hope people will get, because if you don't know about these things, you will say your kids are disrespecting you,
Oh yeah, yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and then you will lash out at your kids,
Yep.
and then over time you can actually end up doing the same thing, or a version of what was done to you to your
Yeah,
children.
it's good that you say that because I will see that part coming out. Like,
Yeah.
okay, why am I being very upset and a little bit aggressive with them? Where I
Hmm.
told myself that I would never treat my kids the way I was treated, and I know I love them dearly. But I can see that, okay, I was because then I'm getting a little aggressive with them, which is it's not out of it's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah, it takes a lot of work, and without the awareness, we can have the intention and still end up
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, you have to be in tune with your feelings and have that
Mm.
awareness and
Yeah,
have that self control.
yeah. As a Cameroonian man, I know that you're a therapist, and you're in tune with your feelings. What would you tell other men from our context about feelings?
Well, what I would tell them is, I can talk about my feelings all day, but I'm not sitting here thinking that I'm weaker because I have feelings. No, I'm not weaker because that's the stigma behind it. That if you talk about your emotion, how you feel, you see you're weak. No, I'm not a weak person. But I'm just vocalizing my reality. And the bottom line is the fact that I'm able to talk about it. It liberates me. I know who I am. I know my struggles. I'm not ignoring it. And like I always say, it doesn't stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do. But the problem is, keeping those things into you, toughen it up, is actually doing you some damage because you're gonna have some personality trait that you don't want to have. A lot of time you want to know why people have anger issue. Why us African or Cameroonian we are drinking so much. Where is that coming from?
Hmm.
Where is that coming from? All of those drinking because you are using negative mechanism, to numb all the emotional pain that you feel because you feel like, oh, you don't want to talk to someone, but you are at the end of the day, you're really hurting yourself. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong talking to somebody about how you feel, processing your feeling, and it's okay, Nobody's going to say you're weak or, my wife doesn't see me as weak. I don't see myself as a weak person.
You're not weak.
It's all about having a purpose. As a matter of fact, talking about your feeling is being courageous.
Yeah.
you are confronting yourself and you can talk about who you are. You're not hiding who you are and you're not hiding what you're going through, period. But
Yeah.
if you are in denial about it, it's only going to damage you. So what I would say to not just Cameroonian men, men in general, because as working as a therapist, oof, I've seen a lot of men who are very smart, very intelligent, with a lot of potential, but they don't want to seek help because they're going to tell you they're fine, but you can see that they are not fine, and you can
Mm.
see that they're throwing their life away. Um, and because the reason why they are throwing their life away because they have some issues. They are unmotivated. They don't want to do anything. They don't have that confidence. They have anger issue. They're using substances. But you're telling me you're fine because you don't want to deal with your past.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to deal your own emotional pain.
Yeah.
And that's where strength comes in, dealing with those emotional pain and recognizing that okay, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have a past where you were weak, where you were powerless. It's okay because that's the whole thing here. It's about this um, machismo things that we have that we don't want to feel powerless. That's the whole problem with men. We don't want to feel powerless. But then again, when it comes to trauma, you can, in order for you to better move forward, you have to recognize that you have a past and that how that past affected you. And the fact that you have a better that understanding, you're going to be able to move forward in a better way because now you understand on who you are and your feelings and emotion.
Yeah.
Because let alone if I wasn't aware of who I was. Like I told you, if I wasn't aware of my past and the connection between who I am today and what I went through in the past, I would have still had relationship issues. I would have still had trust issues. I would have still had, I wouldn't even have the confidence to do the things that I'm doing today with my life. It takes
Mm-hmm.
confidence,
Yeah.
to move forward and accomplish the things that I've been able to accomplish. But if you don't have that, then yeah, because those are barriers that hold people back.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you have anger's issue. You snap at everybody. You come home, you become aggressive with your spouse, and yeah,
Yeah. You abuse your spouse. It could be psychological, but it's
oh yeah,
abuse because
yeah. That's
you're
why men,
hiding yourself.
yeah, that's why men are more prone to commit suicide than women. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Because they have to put this mask in public.
yeah,
It's
they have to
heavy.
put the mask of masculinity. There is a time and place for that. You don't need to be all tough all the time. You don't have to be. There are times that okay, you need to be there as a man, but there are times that it's okay to be vulnerable. You're a human being. Your heart is not in the rock. You have feelings and emotion, and
Yeah.
it's okay to talk about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
would encourage my brothers to be. It's okay, to talk about their feelings and how they feel, even if it's with yours. I know sometimes, especially the only people you can talk to is maybe your wife, and you don't want your wife to see you as a weak person, and then the male friend that you have, you don't want to show them that you're in a vulnerable situation. I mean, you're gonna have to talk to somebody at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. You just feel stuck actually.
Yeah,
And you don't even benefit from the relation because relationships can really heal
yeah,
if we are in that safe relationship where we connect. But if you don't
yeah.
feel and open up to your spouse, actually, it's a lonely place to be
It's
at.
a lonely place. And I'll tell you, a lot of the man behavior that you see, the fact that you see a man is not affectionate, he doesn't really interact much, he doesn't give the attention. Yeah, all of that plays into the picture.
Yeah,
A lot of the reaction that us men have, it has nothing to do with you. Because sometimes women think that, okay, maybe I'm the problem, I'm doing something wrong. No, it's not you. It's the person, it's the man who's dealing with his own issues. And
hmm,
that goes to cheating too.
yeah,
When I always say when a man goes out there and cheat, that don't blame you, don't blame yourself for that. That
yeah.
is not your fault.
It's all those
He's
pent
yeah,
emotions.
he's dealing with his own issues, and yeah, and he's just going out there. That has nothing to do with you. I mean, uh,
Mhm.
even Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. So
Right?
Beyonce got cheated on. Hey, who are you to? You know, so it's
Yeah,
not it's you are not a problem. I always tell when I have conversation with women about this, I'm like, you're not a problem. So stop beating
yeah,
yourself up. It is the man problem
yeah.
because he hasn't learned how to deal with some of the issues that he has, and he feels like okay, going out there is a way of escape and
Hmm.
escaping from emotions of
Yeah,
uh, emotional pain, whatever situation, stress that you may go through, you go out there, you find comfort on somebody else's outside, and you end up doing the wrong thing
yeah.
just because you don't want to find comfort. Your why? Because it's familiarity. It's the same thing. It's familiarity, and you don't want the person that you live with to see you some kind of way.
Oh, yeah. I know you're also a coach.
Yes, I'm starting my program. I'm doing a couple of things. One thing I forgot to mention is I'm actually starting my PhD program at the end of this month. For
Oh, wow.
so I'm starting my PhD in psychology. I'm starting at the end of this month. So finally, I almost put it off. I didn't know if I wanted to go back to school, but I'm like, you know what? I always wanted to be a psychologist, and now it's going to be by focusing on research when it comes to trauma, especially
Amazing.
childhood trauma. That's what I will be focusing on.
Yay. I love,
It's so funny.
from
Yeah,
your experience, from the context, and your expertise. I just think,
yeah. So yeah, and the coaching program. The reason why I decided to start the coaching program is really for people out there who don't want to seek therapy
mm, yeah.
because therapy, seeing a therapist is labeling. Is labeling. People don't want to get the impression that okay, oh, I'm seeing a therapist because when you see a therapist, you have a diagnosis.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
have a diagnosis, but the coaching program, you don't have to have a diagnosis. As long as you're going through some emotional pain from the past, then yes, I don't have to give you any diagnosis. We can just sit and have a conversation about that, and we can find a way to heal. We can find a way to help you heal and go through the process, and now you can better move forward. We don't have to talk about being diagnosing you because it's very scary to some people because there's a stigma and all that. So that's why the coaching comes into place. Yes.
Yeah. I just recently graduated from my coaching course, and that's
Nice. Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. I
Yeah.
hesitated to go study psychology or do coaching since I have three little daughters. I'm like, okay, let me start with the coaching. I will
I
see,
know, right? And see how
if
it
I
works,
want,
right?
yeah, and see if I want to, do psychology later. But we need more and more of
Yeah, we
specialists,
definitely need more.
yeah,
Yeah.
talking about this because with also our context and poverty and the lack of awareness, even the knowing what a child needs,
Hmm.
it just perpetuates all of this. So
It's a lot. And
yeah.
you know, we even go deeper and we wonder because even though not every child back home goes through the same type of abuse I went through, there's still the way corporate punishment is back home and the way we are to be so submissive and to comply to everything, um, we get concealed mentally.
Mhm.
And which brings me to the point where why is it that we're not developing? Why is it that we're not thinking, we're not dreaming big, we're not ambitious, we don't have dreams, and we are limited in our thinking, and that's based on the fact that as a child you weren't trained and encouraged to think big, and the only thing you know is okay, you go to school, you get education, you get a good job, and that's it.
Mm.
And as a, that's your dream right there. You don't
Yeah.
think, and we're wondering why the African continent we're not making a lot of progress because a lot of us we weren't raised to think big and to have an innovative mindset way of thinking. We limit ourselves, and we are very smart people. We have a lot of potential, but we just don't have enough ambition because we were concealed mentally as children the way we were treated.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, even if we don't talk about it, we spend our adult lives
Hmm.
For those who don't realize it, actually is surviving from our childhoods, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that's what a lot of people. That just like I said, even for me to know about the fact that it was trauma that I'm suffering with, I had to go to school and learn about human behavior. Otherwise, I
Yeah,
would not have known. I would just kept going around and struggling and just be like, okay, it's just maybe I just have low self esteem. Maybe I'm just an introverted, shy person. Maybe it's just the way I was born. But no, no,
yeah.
those were not. No, those were contributing factors.
Mhm. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I really like about your story is that you had the strength to know who you are inside, despite what people were telling you, because finally, if you were acting out or whatever, it was because of the abuse you were going through. What people thought you were, it was never you. You were never
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a
Yep.
stubborn kid or whatever. It was the
It was,
suffering.
it was the suffering, and it was my way of displaying it. It was my way of expressing that I'm suffering.
Yeah,
But back
yeah,
home, we don't think about
yeah,
those kind of things.
yeah.
The more you act up, the more intense the beating is becoming. So
No one stops to say, but wait a minute. Why is this child always acting like this?
like, no,
Because
they
they
never they don't
presented
look at
something.
it like that. They just okay, child is acting up. All we're gonna do, we're gonna punish the child. We're gonna beat them up so they
Yeah.
can yeah. And no, they don't think about why.
Mm,
No.
yeah. Yeah.
um,
Just for my own curiosity, that your uncles you grew up with, where are they now, and what kind of relationship do you have with them? And
yeah, that's a very good question. Still back home. Hmm. I mean, I've spoken to my uncle since I've been here a few times. I try to move past it, and not. I mean, I'm an adult now, and the conversation obviously is a little different. But I guess a part of me still has some. I haven't completely let go, to be honest. You know, yeah, I have. I don't think I've completely let go. I think I've gotten to the point where I figured out I can't be mad at somebody. What's done is done. But I've interacted with him, not as much as I should, as I often. My mom always tell me, "Oh, you don't call your uncle," and uncle usually say, "Oh, you don't call me," and and I'm just sitting there like, well, and the whole thing, and it's not just him; it's just the whole rest of the family. It's kind of like when I got here, I've disconnected.
yeah,
I've completely disconnected, and I will tell you, I've been here for 15 years. I never visited back home again since I've been
yeah,
here.
I
And
understand you.
not get blamed for that. Oh, why are you not going back? It's not like I want to go back to my country and visit and see what's going on, but I just don't have it. I don't have that motivation. Just like people are usually excited when they go back home to. No, I don't feel that. I don't
Mm.
have that. Yeah, I don't have that excitement because I mean I
Thank,
don't have
thank
I
you
don't
for
have
saying.
anything to look forward there. To be
Yeah,
honest, I've completely disconnected from everyone. Yeah,
yeah,
and my mom often blame, oh, hey, your auntie greeted, your uncle greeted, you know, eh, and I'm just, okay, fine. But, and even herself, she doesn't even understand. She doesn't understand. It just, they don't know.
no, they don't
Yeah,
know where.
but they don't understand that, okay, there are still some scars somewhere. And, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, I've been out to 25 years, and I've been to Cameroon twice,
Mm,
and
yeah.
each time I felt I was going to die.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not. It was nothing I was looking forward to.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was as I went and drank coffee. I didn't tell my friends why I was calling them to go drink a coffee, but for me it was literally in my mind telling them goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what is stored in my brain and in my body. Those all those experiences, right?
Mhm.
I thanked a woman on Facebook, no, on Instagram recently. I told her because she moved back from Montreal to Yaoundé. I
Right.
thanked her, like, thank you for showing a Cameroon I don't know, because you
Mhm.
see her going, eating lunch with her friends, taking care of her kids, her parents. She has two kids, the
Right.
grandparents there. I'm mesmerized. That's not my Cameroon. My Cameroon is the beatings, the
Right,
neglect.
right, right. Yeah.
Many, you see?
The
So it's,
memories there are just bad. I mean,
yeah,
that's why I'm like,
you
the
know?
memories there are just bad. I'm just not. I mean, I want to go and see. I mean, I miss my country in
Mhm.
general, but I'm just not motivated. The memories
Yeah,
are just bad. I don't have. I'm not motivated. And I get blamed for that. Oh, you haven't been back. And I'm just
yeah,
like, and people, why you been here? Just
yeah.
I don't have anything to look forward to there. I'm not. I don't feel it.
Thank you, because yeah, yeah, it's a real struggle for me to
Yeah,
see.
like my wife, and every now and then she'll tell me, "Oh, we need to go back home and bring the kids." I'm like, the
Yeah,
kids,
yeah, right?
the kids. You know what? I think I may need to go there first,
Yeah,
because I'm like my kids. I don't know. I
yeah,
just,
right?
I just don't trust people back home with my kids. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's because of all what we saw.
Yeah, and for her, I mean, I can understand that her experience was different. She was raised in a loving family. I met her parent; they come here every year. For her experiences, there was no sort. She has a beautiful, loving parent, and beautiful family. So her experience is different. So she's like, "Oh no, we need to go back home. I need to see such and such. We need to." I'm like, "Yeah, okay,
Soon.
yeah." And I told her, listen, if you want to go, you can go, but I'm not. I don't, live, especially the
Yeah,
kids. I can go, but these kids, I don't trust them. I don't trust them with people back home. I just don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my. Yeah, we'll not get into that. Even like getting someone to be like my kids to go to daycare or nannies, how I've struggled just based on my experience, what I saw as a child or what I
Oh yeah,
experienced.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
even yeah, my wife and I, our kids, they never went to daycare. Nah,
yeah,
nah, we're not doing that. We're
yeah,
not doing that. They go to school. Yeah, okay. The 4 years old, they go to school, but they never went to daycare. We made a
yeah,
decision that okay, I will go to work, and she's gonna be home, and we're gonna take care of them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
I have no
see,
problem with that. So they're not going to daycare because I don't know
yeah,
how you're going to treat them. Yeah,
yeah. It just wires you differently, right? Even when I
yeah.
go to parties, I don't leave my kids, they just fly to a different room with other kids. They're going to play there. No, 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 no. My kids don't do that.
No,
Without an adult watching who is playing there, we don't do
exactly.
that.
No, no,
Yeah,
no. I just,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah. And that's lived experience. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know what will tell
it's
me
a
that
total reality. Yeah.
it's okay. It's just kids. I'm like, yeah.
No, no, no,
You know?
no. I'm very, call me overprotective, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'd
But
rather be safe than sorry.
yeah, I totally get that. So, any final words before we wrap up this?
I mean, what I would like to tell your audience is that, don't run away from your past and, don't be in denial about your past. But find a way to be in tune with who you are and give yourself a permission to heal, then move forward. Don't let your past hold you back, and pursue your dream. I know it's not easy to go after the things that you want, but you got to push forward because I found that we shouldn't limit ourselves because we feel like, okay, you know what, I want to do this, but you're coming up with all these excuses of why you're not doing it. Just go after it. Just go after it. Um, I just want to encourage people and see people doing well, and I don't want people to be held back because they're struggling emotionally. Um, and because that is, I believe that is the number one barrier um, that prevent people from moving forward. Because to me, I strongly believe that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your emotional state. If you don't think right, you're not going to act right. And if you don't act right, your life ain't moving forward. So you need to do it, and you need to take care of your mental well-being because that. And the sad thing is that's the part that gets neglected the most. But you don't realize it if you're not mentally stable, if you're not emotionally stable, if you don't have that inner peace and inner balance, that is what's stopping you from moving forward and doing the things that you want to do.
Very sound advice and amazing words. So,
Right?
thank you so much for this conversation, Arnold.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me. And I congratulate you and I want to acknowledge you for, you know, deciding to become a coach and help people who are suffering from trauma, because it's, you know, we want to turn our pain to passion and help other people. You know, someone like you, someone like myself, we were fortunate to learn that, okay, we have a past and we have some healing to do, but it does not prevent us from moving forward. But a lot of people are not there. They don't even know what's going on with them. And
Yeah.
we have to help them. We have this obligation to pull people out of the ditch and tell them
Hmm.
that, hey, you know what? It's okay to feel this way, but there is a way out.
Yeah.
There's a way out.
I
Yeah,
think that's a beautiful message that
yeah.
there's a way out.
There's a way out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.